Hello everyone, a warm welcome to this extreme test. In today's video, we're focusing on the smallest 12-volt battery-powered chainsaw from Makita, the UC100D. If you haven't already seen the detailed review of this device, make sure to check it out. I'll link it for you up in the top right corner of the info card. And with that, let's dive right into the practical test of this little mini saw. I'm curious to see what we can expect today. As you can see, at the very back is the large 12-volt 4-amp-hour battery, fully charged before the test to provide maximum power. Furthermore, the chain oil tank is filled to about 3/4 with chain oil, and not to forget the most important part, the actual chain. As you can see, brand new, extremely sharp, and of course already tensioned, so that we can achieve very good results in the practical test. Let's now begin with the freehand cut, which is the main application of this small chainsaw, 35 millimeters in diameter. Clearly no problem at all. Let's try something a bit larger, 65 millimeters. The cut is carried out swiftly, and let's do another one right after. As you can see, absolutely no issues. So let's continue with the toughness test, meaning hardwood. Oak, 50 millimeters in diameter. Let's make a few cuts. As you can see, the first 2 cuts are done here. Absolutely no problem. 50 millimeters of hardwood. It went very smoothly. Therefore, on to the next larger tree trunk, 80 millimeters for the Makita UC100D. And as you can see, the chainsaw definitely has to put up a fight here, but still, even 80 millimeters doesn't pose a major obstacle for this little chainsaw. The first cut is already completed. Let's follow it up with a second one. And that looks very good. The second cut in the hardwood is successful. Now let's push the limits with this small chainsaw. Here, with the next larger tree trunk, 95 millimeters. The chainsaw is almost maxed out with this. I'm curious to see how it performs. And as you can see, another good cutting progress. Of course, it's not comparable to the 18-volt device I've already tested. You can find the video up on the info card or on the channel under the corresponding playlist. Very nice. Let's proceed with a few more cuts, and as you can see, the overload protection kicked in right away. Otherwise, no issues with this device. Let's continue with the endurance test here on the dimensional lumber, 80 by 100 millimeters for the small chainsaw. I'm curious to see how it performs, not least due to the modest 12-volt power supply. As you can see, the first cut is made. However, the chainsaw takes quite a while to complete a full cut here. This is mainly due to the 12-volt power supply and the limited power range. Nonetheless, as is evident here, 80 by 100 millimeters are easily manageable. Of course, you just need to make sure not to exert too much pressure on the chainsaw, otherwise the overload protection will kick in. That means it's not comparable to the 18-volt device. And that looks good. For you, here's a time lapse as well, as you can see. I've performed numerous cuts with this chainsaw, and now I'm curious to see the end results. As you can see, the chainsaw has definitely performed very well. In that regard, no major difficulties, just keep in mind the power and the overload protection. And now, let's take a look at the battery level. What does the large 12-volt 4-amp-hour battery say after all these cuts? As mentioned earlier, fully charged before the test, and now after the test, it's showing 3 out of 4 bars. I would say that's definitely acceptable. So let's move on to the conclusion. Overall, I can say that the Makita UC100D, just like the 18-volt counterpart, is a very good battery-powered chainsaw. The key point to consider here is the power. This means I would recommend using the chainsaw to cut maximum 60, maybe 70 millimeter logs. Anything above that becomes critical as the chainsaw takes quite a bit longer compared to the 18-volt device, and the overload protection due to the relatively weak battery system in comparison to the 18-volt device tends to kick in more frequently. This means for those who mainly want to cut branches up to a maximum of 60 millimeters and are looking for an incredibly compact and extremely lightweight device, I would definitely recommend the Makita 12-volt chainsaw. So what's your opinion on this? Feel free to write it down in the comments below. I'm looking forward to your feedback, and that's actually it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please show your support with a big thumbs up, and if you haven't already, quickly subscribe to this channel and activate the bell so you don't miss any future videos. You can find the current prices in the video description below. Thank you very much for your support, and with that, take care until next time.